Welcome back to my channel, Her Quiet Passions. This is Melissa, and a little while ago I shared with you a small garden in Washington, D.C. And this time I want to share a big garden in Washington, D.C. that we spent a lot of time in, the Dumbarton Oaks Garden. It's grand, and it goes from formal near the house to informal. We had a fantastic time. We spent every hour we could from opening to closing that day, exploring all the nooks and crannies and all the various terraces, and I can't wait to share it with you. Some of the features are so exquisite and thought out and kind of classical, and yes, it does come from rich people designing a garden. They were privileged, but that doesn't take away from the beauty and the serenity, and it is now a public garden, so everyone can enjoy it. I hope you do too. Dumbarton Oaks is located in Georgetown, the historic neighborhood near Washington, D.C. This is the Orangery. Orangeries always make me imagine King Louis XIV housing his confiscated orange trees at Versailles. The Orangery connects to the two-story federal-style home, and in the backyard stands a huge stately oak tree. To get an idea of how the home is on a hill and the gardens terrace down and out from this point, we step to the stone railing with the dedication to the much accomplished landscape architect Beatrix Farrand, who preferred to call herself a landscape gardener. She worked closely with her client Mildred Bliss to design the grounds. Farrand was one of the first female landscape architects and the only woman among the founders of the American Society of Landscape Architects. And here we look down on the swimming pool that was built in the 1920s. We're not going to go to the pool today. But next to the pool, we're amazed to find this wall of mosaics depicting the Roman mythology story of Diana and Actaeon. The story goes that Actaeon, a mortal man, unwittingly stumbles across the goddess Diana and her nymphs as they were bathing. Diana splashes water on the man and transforms him into a deer. See the antlers? I love these antlers. I have never seen a pebble garden before. This area has been transformed a few times, from a chicken yard to a tennis court to this Italian villa-inspired stone mosaic. But I am drawn to this espaliated magnolia grandiflora here on the wall. Designed to be viewed from above, the pebble garden also proved magical from the garden level. Mildred Bliss asked the architect to devise a way to flood the stone area with a few inches of water because she enjoyed seeing the vivid colors of the stones when they were wet. That's why this drain is here. But that feature did not function too well, so the wet stone idea was abandoned. I just love the patterns. Can you imagine how much work this took? And this fountain, I believe I read something about how these figures were gifted to Mildred Bliss, and they originally were from the fountains at Versailles. The Dumbarton Oaks property is situated on a hill, giving lots of opportunity for terraces and walkways. As we made our way through the gardens, I was continually delighted by how varied and charming the walkways were. Each terrace, niche, footpath, and set of stairs made use of different materials that were deemed integral to the style of that area. I am currently landscaping my new home. Yes, you heard me right, and you heard it for the first time, that I've moved. Anyway, I'm landscaping my new home and finding myself choosing pavers and stone walkways for the first time. I'm looking back at this footage now more carefully for ideas. My project, of course, will be much more modest. Bricks were used here to great effect, While the moss can get slippery, I love the reminder that nature will have its way. And look at that diamond pattern. Would you call it deco? If you know, please make a comment. It just melts me the way you can look back through this wisteria trellis to the steps we took to bring us to this turf and brick amphitheater. Beatrix Farrand based this amphitheater on the one at Bosco Palacio in Rome. Colonnades, walkways, stepping stones all bring us in anticipation to a new feature or through a gate. Speaking of features, I spent some time with this little gem, the horseshoe steps, with what was called the shell fountain. It's a planter now. And look what's on the face of these steps. Ever the sucker for miniature foliage, I focused in on the moss and the liverwort. I just love saying liverwort. And here are sketches by Beatrix Farrand. See how she signed her name as landscape gardener? I was looking forward to this walk. It's the Forsythia walk. And while it's not blooming now, you can imagine in the spring where the flowers come out bright yellow before the leaves come. It's gorgeous. At Dumbarton Oaks, they have not forgotten the edible. They have mundane fruits and vegetables and nuts, and then they have the exotic. For instance, this crazy-looking macroot lime with fine black hairs and seems to leak latex when scuffed. We were at the gardens in early October, and so it was a little late for a lot of the flowers, but I imagine there was a lot more flowers than what we saw. But we did see some colored foliage and some zinnias. I was really taken with this colorful pot of calibrachoa and an aloe vera in the center of it. It just had this formal, informal, surprising look to it. And of course, in the rose garden, there were some roses blooming. By the end of the day, we were sorry to leave Dumbarton Oaks, but we were saturated and so inspired by this lovely garden.